To me, there's a pattern here with Donald Trump, especially overseas, and that he kind of comes in and he politically carpet bombs before he meets with some of these people. Then he meets face to face and very softly and diplomatically, in the end, seems to get exactly what he wants. This pattern seems to be working.
It just shows you that he knows what he's doing. I mean, the president is leading from the front. As you said in your opening, for the last 8 years before he took office, America was leading from behind. And all the president is doing is asking people to pay their fair share. When he went to NATO, he says, listen, we're willing to pay our share, except other countries have been riding on our dime for too long, and he wanted everybody else to pony up. That's what's become of NATO. That's what's become of us throughout the world until Donald Trump took office. Now the president is saying everybody's got to pay their fair share. America's willing to. Everyone else has to.
Seems to me this is a new status quo that we're talking about, a new paradigm being set by the president vis-a-vis Great Britain. I think the relationship is going to emerge even stronger from this, but I think very importantly, he's trying to keep Brexit. You're on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I think the president is trying to keep Brexit on the rails, don't you think?
You know, I think he's looking at our friends and saying, yes, we've been friends for a long, long time. And we have common interests, but we're going to disagree at times. And friends disagree. But overall, as I think both Prime Minister May and the President said at the conclusion of their summit, the conclusion of their meeting before he went to meet with the Queen, is that we are friends, we're stronger because of this meeting. We're going to disagree, we're going to agree to disagree. America's going to have its interest, Great Britain's going to have their interest, but we have a common interest that will bind us together, as it has in the past. But the President, again, just wants everybody to do their share.
And I believe that he's correct in his assessment that NATO is stronger now because of the effort that he has put in, not just to have these folks ante up more money, but to bring them together under a unified umbrella, if you will. And all of this, is, of course, is looked at through the prism of meeting with Vladimir Putin in about 72 hours. And I don't read this the way the mainstream media is reading it. And they say, oh, well, Putin is going to view NATO as weaker. I think just the opposite. I think Putin is looking at Trump, and he's probably rubbing his eyes and saying, how is this guy doing this? And so by the time he sits down with President Trump, he's going to realize that there is a new free world order.
You're absolutely right. I mean, why do people come to the table? They come to the table because they have something to lose. You know, when the Iranians came to the table, even though it was a bad deal that we entered into with the nuclear disarmament that's never going to happen in Iran, they came to the table because sanctions were working. Well, the president's involvement in NATO, making it stronger, as you just pointed out, is one of the reasons Putin's coming to the table on Monday.
All right. Shifting gears here, Robert Mueller made an announcement today. In my opinion, what's happening here, he's justifying his existence through Rod Rosenstein, his good buddy. Roll tape.
Today, a grand jury in the District of Columbia returned an indictment presented by the Special Counsel's Office. The indictment charges 12 Russian military officers by name for conspiring to interfere with the 2016 presidential election.
This is a worthless indictment, obviously. They're never going to get these guys in court. It's never going to happen. But I question, Congressman, the timing on this. Again, yes, through the prism of 72 hours before the President of the United States sits down with the President of Russia. And these are important talks. Mueller unleashes this indictment. It seems as though he's almost meddling in foreign affairs.
Well, the other thing that's happening is members of Congress from the other side of the aisle are screaming now that the president not go to the summit. I think the president ought to go to the summit. I think he ought to bring this up with Putin. But yes, the timing is questionable. I heard some reports earlier that there was some kind of timing mechanism with the grand jury. I don't know if the order impaneling the grand jury is about to expire, but it's very strange that with all this time, this investigation, supposed investigation, has been going on for over a year now. It's cost millions upon millions of dollars. There seems to be no end in it. And all of a sudden, 72 hours before the leader of the free world is going to meet with the Russian leader, this indictment comes down. It's very questionable why this happened today.
Right. It's not like they couldn't sit on this indictment until after the meeting. The Russians are not going anywhere, right? And so we have Lisa Page, the disgraced former attorney at the FBI, testifying behind closed doors today. Yesterday, we had the disgraced FBI agent, Peter Strzok, who suddenly has a memory loss, Congressman. Roll tape.
I'm trying to cut to the chase and explain the text.
The will is the American people. Is that right? That's your testimony. The will stop it. You were speaking on behalf of the American people. Is that correct?
Mr. Gowdy, what my testimony is and what I said during extensive asking of this question during my prior interview is I don't recall writing that text.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.